Yeah, it's a cloud software, so it really helps. Like they save in the background to create backup files for you constantly. So it's not really you don't have to do stuff yourself.
That's
Um,
impressive that it saved it. It wouldn't do that a couple years ago.
oh yeah. I can show you the other method real quick. I don't know
Well,
how
what you know,
compatible with you,
I don't know. I'd kind of Wilhelm. I'd kind of rather you just stick with this one since
yeah,
that's what the tutorial is.
yeah,
Because
yeah,
there's probably 100 different ways to do this thing. But this worked out very well. Your finished model is pretty good. So
yeah. Um, let's see, which one do I want to look for? I don't know how much time you guys
why
have.
don't you just keep working on this one? Just don't worry about showing us anything. Just kind of keep working on this the way you did in your tutorial.
Okay, so yeah, let me go over. So like I kind of don't want the middle part. That was just a show example, so I could just delete both of these, or I could just delete one side and it'll do the same to the other, or not. There you go. You have to do it out of edit form. It just takes a lot of like quick trial and error type of things. It wants to keep one side, so I can always work with that.
Yeah, that could be your back end.
So yeah, I could always go to the right side, go to edit form, and just drag it all the way out. Um, and I could actually flatten this out. So instead of going to like vertex and just trying to flatten it out, I could just highlight both of them and drag it the way to 0. But since it's really stretched, it's not going to do it properly. I can give you a better example of how to straighten stuff out. So right here, you see how it's like not it's kind of going to the pivot point or on the bottom. Let me show you how straightening out would be. So it's like cornered like this, but you want it straight. So I could just drag this what do you want, scale tool, and just type in 0 and it'll straighten it out. You can do that with a lot of things that aren't as scaled far out like this. Uh,
And you can also add splines in there, I would imagine, Wilhelm. That might be another way of so it's not so weird looking.
yeah, you could always add. So there's another insert point. You could always add points. I had that selected before, but let me redo that. You could always add more points, and it'll like try to calculate
Yeah.
the way it's going to be smoothed out. But I would be careful with that because there's a technique when you start 3D modeling like this. You want to have everything have like 4 points, 4 edges, and just one face with 4 sides. If once you start getting to the realm of like having like 3 points, like a triangle, it will start making like uh, weird errors that you don't want. It just make your life more difficult. Not that you can't use it. Just try to keep the triangles to a minimum and try to keep topology evened out. So let me give you an example here. Triangle. Press OK. So here's an example of a triangle. So if I were to try to make,
Wilhelm, it sounds like less is more, is what you're saying.
yeah, when you first initially model this, just go super simple. Start like with less, and as you start putting more details to the car, just start adding those edge loops and
Wilhelm, just go ahead
points.
and continue modeling this thing. I want to see how you're doing. Don't get too caught up on these little details.
Yeah, I always get caught up in details, so it's like, um, yeah. Let me insert an edge loop here, and then I could just always hold right click, repeat insert edge loop, press enter, and this is just going to prevent it from stretching out too much. Could look from the top, edit form, And I don't want lines, I want vertex. I could just drag it out here. And as you see, as I start doing like highlighting everything and dragging everything out, these green lines that I said there were like tangent lines turn red, and it's kind of messing around with my model. So I could just highlight everything, click on the yellow chain, and it'll fix it a little bit. Of course,
That's
this is
really helpful, Wilhelm. I didn't know that because I was always getting error messages, and then I would have to like basically start over.
yeah. So here you may have little like you would have to like duplicate this, and how you do that is I'll just highlight these. Let me see. Yeah, I can just double click that, control copy. So I just control C and control V to copy and paste. And it'll just take those things that I highlighted, those faces, and I could just drag it to the back and press OK. And I can just go into edit, modify, and just start editing it freely to match the car. Usually it's going to be perfect, but I didn't model it perfectly. So yeah, there's that. I press OK. And since this is in the way, I could just delete it. But due to symmetry, clear symmetry command remove. Like I have to remove the symmetry command. So clear symmetry. I clear symmetry, and now I can delete it.
So yeah, the backside didn't clear though, right?
Yeah, it didn't clear it because I just deleted
Yeah.
but I'm gonna delete these just to keep it evened out. I want to like make sure everything's properly has symmetry, so it doesn't mess with like trying to redo symmetry again. So I need to make sure. Nope. So what I can do again is let's see, mirror internals, select face. I'm actually gonna just extrude this out. I'm gonna just have it close to the middle. And then I'm gonna, let's see, merge it. I'm gonna merge it by vertices instead of edges. So I go by insert weld vertices, and I could just highlight both with a box, and they'll merge towards the middle. Press that, and now I can just do mirror internal instead of mirror duplicate. Basically means you can start mirroring with objects together. So you gotta click one side, and then you gotta click the other side, and it'll try to calculate what's symmetrical. And there you have it. It'll try to like edit what needs to be symmetrical, and it should work.
So is it everything symmetrical now? So
Yep.
then how do you join, excuse me, the skin that you made with that back area that you cut in there?
Here?
How do you join those once you're happy with it?
Oh yeah. So let me delete these lines first. So right here, I didn't give myself proper lines here, but if I go to edit form, and I'm gonna try to merge it with these, so I press OK. Go to weld vertices. You could do edges as well. And it's gonna create an error for me because I didn't have it on the other side.
Oh, right.
So I need to do symmetrical with that as well. So do symmetrical duplicate because it's not part of this model. And click the center, and there it is. So now I could do, where is it? Weld vertices or weld points. And I still have an error for me for some reason. Let's see.
Does it show you where the error is? It looks like it's folding somewhere.
I don't think it's, well, it's still showing. It's still allowing me to edit it for some reason. But it's doing proper symmetry. Uh, I don't know what the error is. Right now it's pretty clean for some reason. Like it's
So if
it,
there's an error, will it not finish form?
huh? If there's an error, it'll probably like the errors you usually counter are overlapping faces.
Right.
So and to fix those, all you have to do is like start maneuvering moving
But how
vertices.
do we know where the error is? If you said finish form, what's it going to do?
It's it how do you know where the error is? It will
Yeah,
highlight it in red. So you
but the
look
whole
around the
thing's
model
the
and you
whole,
try to find it.
okay. So save it and then say finish form and let's see what happens.
I can hide the yeah, I haven't stitched everything together, so it's like it's just a bunch of bodies, but
Okay.
this is it. Oh, so there you go. It's not properly stitched together. Um, so they're two separate bodies.
Well, do me a favor. Turn off your old car, the bodies of the old car.
Yeah.
Just turn those off. What you hit to turn them off?
So I highlighted all the bodies I wanted, and I pressed V to hide, or press V again to unhide.
Okay, V.
So I had a question on the picture. How did you have those lines show up? I mean, now the picture is I don't know, gray. But when you zoomed in before, there were different lines that you were trying to match.
Right. That was in the canvas.
So like, are you talking about? Let me hide this body. Hold it. Are you talking about this?
Yeah.
That's just whenever you complete a form, it's gonna try to like have a kind of like a duplicate of it, showing what you have completed, and then once you edit it around, it'll show you where it was last. It won't really do anything with your model. It's just a reference point of what you've done to your model. So you're like, do I like it going out there, or do I want to go back to its original form?
Right. But you're trying to match these lines to the lines that were in the photo. You see, like the photo's got some lines in it.
Yeah, those lines are actually part of the car. So they either be like real like creases from the door. These lines would probably be something you'd add a crease like right here.
So can you well just make it darker. So if you go to canvas, you can make the image of the car. He just did the opacity where he right? Fred, you see that?
Yeah.
So he can control how dark those lines are. Sometimes it gets a little confusing when you've got, or
But
all
the whole
those.
idea is to draw, so you draw a skin layer along those lines.
Yeah, you're kind of jockeying back and forth between the top view and the side view, right, Wilhelm, and the front view.
Yeah, you once you start making it, you look from the right, then you go to the front to make
So
sure.
why
it's
don't you just
aligned.
continue modeling the car, Wilhelm? We'll watch you do it, okay?
This is gonna take a while.
It's okay. You're getting paid by the hour.
I am. All right, so
I'll put a good word in to you for D, okay?
all right.
We talk just about every day, Wilhelm. So
So I
seriously,
ooh, that's very surprising. Okay.
no, we do.
Yeah. So yeah, I always wonder if Dee's like all right with me recording these videos, because she does say like we have our own content, but I don't
No,
know.
it's all good. I wanted to tell you that she told me today that 2 students won some national competition. I didn't even know there was. Our California one. 2 of our students.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
She told me that Elena won, and then Miles won the top prize.
What competition?
I didn't even know. Wilhelm, do you know what competition that was?
Oh yeah. Oh, I helped to grade that.
Did you?
Yeah, I helped to like decide the top.
No,
like...
no, but no. Well, hold
on. Yeah. Let's get it. So yeah, I see why there's an error. It didn't properly like, what do you want to say, connect with the back wheels here. So what I want to do is, since it didn't really connect that well, I could just, before I even did any of that, I'm gonna just go back and delete this. And while it's still like connected, I'm gonna just copy this just to prevent any more further errors. Oop. It didn't copy it to the other side. I could always do it manually. I'm not too experienced. I learned this in like a week. So yeah, you gotta kind of follow along. And I just extrude it here, but I kind of want to do it with a crease. So I'll do control, extrude, and then I'll just do the same thing, just control here. And it should be doing it on the other side, so I don't have to deal with the confusion. Usually you would have this, both of them mirrored, and you won't fall into the same problem I'm having right now.
So that tool where you weld is actually very powerful. I didn't realize how easy that was because the AutoCAD, you really can't do that. You can't essentially weld two surfaces together that I'm aware of.
All right, so I got both sides. It's kind of not centered where I want it to be. So since I already made the model, I'm gonna just align it with that. Surface. Let's go in. Two degrees, and I just press OK. Now I just want to look at the front, make sure it's aligned to the front properly. It's all right. And just look like, make sure that it's aligned with the car at the top as well. It's all right as well. And no more errors because I just redid it. Now I just kind of, I got to delete that line again that I deleted previously. I can also change the display views. So I go up to utilities, display view, and I can see it in box form, but I have something that's not working out, so it won't show box form. So I need to fix that. Let's see. Well, I didn't do something correct, but box formed is basically, let me use the face right here. I click these two. Okay, so it's going to show me box form here, but this is what box form is what's going to look like. This is basically the raw form of what the model looks like in reality, because what Fusion does is automatically smooths out your model. So you got to keep in mind where it's how it's going to smooth out. But yeah. Could also do soft select and have a whole bunch of stuff. Like soft select basically does is it changes how far the radius of selecting everything else will be. So if I change it to lower, it will drag it more, less influence on the vertex. But if I drag it all the way out, it will start moving everything. There's my problem. I have multiple copies. So let's see. Let me delete that. So yeah, you got to be careful when you start duplicating things because you will start messing yourself up. Now, let's see. Edit, soft select. And you could also change the way, instead of having just the flat end, having it cubed, like the way you want to drag it from this side, front side. I turn to, I usually sometimes use view space, so coordinate space, click here, and it will do your like dragging based on where your screen's located. So if I drag my screen like this, right now it's not, my thing's not cooperating. Let me hold shift and middle mouse click. It will realign my pivot point, but it's not still doing it correctly. But it'll rotate based on where your screen is. So if I go to this direction, it will rotate or move it based on your screen, the way you have it. So if I look on this, it's the same as having it in this direction. You can actually see right here. So let me drag it out here. I'm gonna undo soft select. And let's see.
You know, I've never modeled in 3ds Max, Mark, but I know there's product designers who do, and it works off the same principle as this. This is the way they do the modeling in Fusion, excuse me, in 3ds Max.
Yeah, 3ds Max, Maya, this is how they're mostly gonna do their modeling. In CAD software, you can do that method like what I'm doing right now, what they also do in like Maya and Fusion, or not in Fusion, but well, yeah, in
Alias?
Fusion.
Alias, what is Alias used? Do you know?
Alias, I have no idea.
Okay. Because that was the go-to for product designers for years.
Yeah, I haven't been a product designer that long.
Okay.
So I just extrude that out. I can now just
So to answer Fred's question, what Wilhelm is doing is he's kind of going between the top view and the front view and the side view, just trying to make sure everything lines up. And that's the way a lot of designers work when they create sketches, is they'll kind of make a 3D sketch, and then they'll figure out what it looks like in the orthographic view, side views, and they'll take that into the computer and create a model. It's a much more efficient way to design than trying to do it in the software. It can be very hard to get all the proportions correct when you're just modeling from scratch. So you can see his background of the car in there, and he's just going to model it around it. So he can also take the background shape, the car, the image, and highlight it if he's having trouble seeing it, because we changed the opacity. And really what you're doing is adding more splines when you're needed. Otherwise, you're just trying to keep it as simple as possible.
There you go. I fixed it. This is the block. You can also do at the same time, see the block, its raw form, I guess you can say, and have it smoothed out so you can see where you're exactly putting your points.
That's just a display. That's not really what it looks like though, right?
Yeah, it depends.
How'd you do that? You just did display mode? Oh, I see. There.
Yeah. Utilities, display mode. I like to keep it at smooth, but once I start running into errors, I'll go into block mode and see where my vertices are like kind of hitting each other, and it's not a pretty. But yeah, there's also quick keys, so like Alt 2, Alt 1, Alt 3. I don't use those because that's my recording keybind. So yeah. So let me add more edge loops here. Here's I'm a little confused on how I like did the geometry because like it's just an extra. So here I have an extra extrude that I didn't follow along with this. So what I would do is I'd grab this whole thing and edit form, probably extrude it out upward. All right, and I just start from the bottom and start editing it. So weld. Here it just looks wacky, so I just like go into crease and it'll keep its form.
Yeah, there's a lot of tricks that you're doing, I guess, just with experience.
Yeah.
Has the Fusion team taught you anything, or are you just basically figuring it out as you go along?
I don't know. I self-taught everything.
Yeah. Do they
So,
provide? Because I know Rebecca's one of your classmates. Are they teaching her, or are you guys? I mean, there's a lot to be said for figuring it out on your own.
yeah. Rebecca, she was taught a little bit by what do you want to call it, Jake? But most of like a lot of 3D programs, you kind of have to have the willpower to
Yeah.
want to teach yourself, or it's not going to go well for you.
Yeah. It's just time on software.
Yeah.
But you know, this would be so hard to do in AutoCAD. I don't think you could.
No, you could, but it's not going to look pretty.
You know, you could maybe make a door, you could maybe make a hood, and you know, you could probably do it that way, but that would be very difficult. And so you're what you're doing real quickly is you're welding them together. Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, I'm just extruding.
The
it,
modify.
welding.
So you're going to modify, and you're going to what?
Yeah, going to modify, going to either weld vertices or merge edges. They're the same thing, just different ways of merging your lines.
Okay.
And
then you're selecting the splines or the lines.
Yeah.
Okay.
Another cool tool.
So you know what I'd love to see you do is, can you show us how you created that? Right now I understand that you're not done, but could you show us how you did the headlight by just taking it on the front view and then extruding it and then doing the difference or whatever you did?
Yeah, let me hide this whole thing real quick. So instead of just going through the pain of trying to like do let me go back, doing like the geometry of cutting, like trying to get it properly sorted out, like deleting this and considering this the headlight, I just skipped that step. And you could do it that way, but it's more of a headache. You could also go into your surface tools.
So just go ahead and do what we're So
yeah, go into the surface tools. I could make a sketch. It doesn't really matter.
Why don't you bring the opacity down for the front view so we can really see this?
Yeah, let me bring it down. Opacity, nope. 10%. I could just, yeah.
A little 10%. More, so we can see it.
Oh, you want to see it? 50%.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go.
Okay. So yeah, so where I want to make a sketch towards the front here to make the headlights. So
but it doesn't matter, right?
It depends.
It depends how you extrude it. Okay.
Yeah. I'll give you two examples of what could go wrong if you don't
do
the same method. So let me turn on my constructions front side. I renamed them so it's much easier to figure out what construction plane you need. So for here, I'm gonna start a sketch right here, and I'm gonna use the spline tool on the top right here and just start sketching out what I need. And then I'm just gonna press complete because I kind of want this corner to be sharp.
Then to complete, you did what? Just enter?
I pressed the check mark that it will appear.
Okay.
So I'll show you right here, and it'll show a check mark.
Yeah, okay.
So I did that, and I have my sharp corners because I did them in two different operations, I guess you can say. I can press, oh, I can start editing the way they're shaped with the green tangent tools. Yeah, the good stuff. Press OK. And yeah, so from right there, I could start, let me hide canvas. And from here, I could do extrude. You can click, it pre-selected it for me because I already had it like somewhat selected. So it assumes that I want it to extrude it. So I'm gonna just extrude it all the way in. And this is a more controlled way of cutting the body. So I'll press OK. And I can go to modify, split face or split body. Both have its differences. I'm gonna do split face. So which this basically means is it's gonna split certain faces that I want selected. So I'm gonna click this face and this face, and this is the only two faces that I want selected when splitting. And I'm gonna select the cutting tool, which is what I just made right here. And here's also extended splitting tool, which extends it all the way out. That's not what you want, but yeah, this is a more controlled way. Press OK, and then I could hide this, and you have your cut already in here for your headlight. And you can't really offset it immediately because I've clicked that offset. It will try to do the whole car. So the next best thing you can do is just delete the faces manually and patch it with the patch icon right here. Click the lines that you just had to delete the surface here. Press OK.
That's, you created a new body too, right? On the patch?
You created a new body right here.
So the only thing is it's probably not as supple as it's probably flat, right?
Yeah, it made a different kind of angle.
Yeah, because it's not going to be as smooth as the other one. Right?
I can test something out real quick. Let's do split body real quick here. Yeah, it's not letting me do it. You're getting errors, and it's just like.
Yeah, it's okay. There's no way you can't join those two together? Patch?
I could, let's see, copy and paste. Nope, doesn't work. There is ways to do it. I just, I think I did in the tutorial the way
Could you stitch it together?
Let's see. It's all part of the one body.
Yeah.
But let me go back real quick. I'm gonna turn on the sketch real quick. Now the other way is split body. So I'm gonna click this, press OK. Now they're different bodies. So you can keep it.
Okay.
So you would have to use split body, but I don't like, as you saw when I was using the split body with this, it was creating errors. So that's why I kind of steered away from it.
Yeah. So can you patch those two pieces now? The first shows you have one lens.
Yeah, I can patch them together. So let me hide the sketch real quick here.
Yeah, and just again, we have another tutorial, so we're just going slow.
Yeah, I'm gonna add an extra tutorial here as well, or not a tutorial, but extra step here. If you wanted to like make it go inside, you could always go to create offset, and you could just drag it in, and you'll have the exact same thing, but inside. Press OK, and then I could actually just delete the outside here, and then close this up with loft. And I could just click both sides and I'll start closing it up, and I just continue doing so.
Oh, well, there's just a million different ways you could build something like this.
Yeah. And say you're like satisfied with that, they're still separate bodies, and how you turn it, stitch it all together to one body is there's a stitch icon feature. Click that, you just highlight the whole thing, and the green will represent that it's stitched together. I have an error there because I didn't make a loft there. I don't believe.
Yeah, no, you didn't.
No, I did not. Nope. So
So when you lofted, I would have expected it to make go all the way. When it lofts, what is it doing when it lofts there?
it's trying to connect one line to the next line to fill the faces, I guess you can say. It's very a helpful tool. So let me stitch that together real quick. Green means it's going to stitch successfully together, and now it's successfully one body. So if I click this, it highlights everything and it's one body. And then I could just go into like appearances, put well, if I drag it directly right now, it'll do the whole car, but I could just click on them individually and then drag it into it, and it'll turn into a glass based on heavy glass texture I just have in here. And the other perk of having it like stitched together, having it one body, is that you could also like fillet it. So that's basically rounding out the corners.
So what if you wanted that glass to come up and match the surface? Can you do that now?
Yeah, let me bring it back. So I bring back my timeline before I did any of that. And I could just go to, let's see. It's part of a different body, so I'm gonna just have to stitch it all together. Press OK. It just stitches it together and makes it. I don't know why it's doing that. But you can, if you don't stitch it together, you could just drag that in there and have it flush with this with the car. Just don't stitch it together, or it's going to try to merge with the rest of the car automatically, and you won't have an outline to put your appearance here, if that makes sense. And then you could also have your offset in the bottom here, just to have like, because when you render it, you're going to see through it, some of it. So if I go, oh, that's not the car, but actually, if I go to render, you can kind of see through it a little bit. It's not gonna, like, you see how it has a little hole, like it's gonna, those are the holes you kind of want to fill up. And right here I have something behind it, you can see it kind of behind, so maybe you want to like fill it up, just have the glass, you know, the small details make a lot of difference.
So Mark, why don't we do this? Because I think you've done a really, Wilhelm, I'm sorry, Wilhelm, why don't we do this? You've done a really good job here. I think we've kind of got a sense of it. So I want you to be able to help students who might want to have some one-on-one. So why don't we just stop the recording, and then you can get on your Discord channel and help some individual students while you still have time, okay?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so I'm going to stop this recording.